Hello, welcome to Vikings Rant. This is Nathan Schulte.
And I am Dirk Ummenhauer, and we're ready to rant about our favorite football team and more.
There is so much to talk about, so let's get started.
First off, while our Vikings have never won a Super Bowl, our women's basketball team, the Minnesota Lynx, have. So congratulations to them on their fourth title this decade that they won last night.
And Dirk, what exactly is a decade?
It's a 10-year span. A decade.
Wow. How enlightening. Well, of course, we're very excited to be doing this podcast and to talk about our Minnesota Vikings and much more happening in Minnesota. What's first on the docket today, Dirk?
First on the docket is a recap of last week's Lions versus Vikings crapshoot.
Yes, that it was. I mean, how disappointing. 3 ball-busting games in a row, and wow, we have lost them big time.
Detroit, folks, is a city that is run down, out of money, and just smells like bad stuff that I can't say. But somehow they have found a way in the past couple years to have the luckiest football team in the National Football League. And I don't get it, Nathan. What do you get it?
I don't get it either. I mean, somehow Matthew Stafford has been becoming one of the league's best quarterbacks, which makes no sense because he was so horrible for so many years, and then all of a sudden he flipped a switch.
And then he goes and loses Megatron, and when they lose Megatron, they're supposed to go down the damn hill, but they don't. They keep getting better, and it doesn't make sense.
And yet, here we are. We also have a quarterback who should be getting better late in his career, and his knee is too painful to walk on. Now, obviously, I don't understand what he's going through because I am not Sam Bradford, but it seems like he's faking it.
Well, Nathan, that is a major, major claim to make against what you have called before top-notch quarterback in the National Football League.
You're right. All signs would point to the fact that he probably is not faking it, but at the same time, I don't understand how a bone bruise has taken him out for 5 weeks.
Well, we will talk about Sam Bradford later, but this is what we got ourselves into. When we traded for him from the Eagles, we gave up a freaking first-round draft pick because we knew he could play like he did on the Monday night opener against New Orleans, where he looked like the second coming of Jesus. But in this game, but now he's back to paper-mache Bradford, the guy who just walks around on the sideline, who Mike Zimmer tells you he's getting better, and we think he can play this week, but doesn't get better at all.
But, Dirk, you speak about the first-round draft pick. I would say that Minnesota has had some rough luck with their first-round draft picks. I mean, look at Laquan Treadwell. What has he amounted to?
Nothing. I mean,
absolute garbage. Our fifth-round pick from 2 years ago is 5 times better than him.
I mean, Laquan Treadwell, the closest ball he came to catching was a double coverage touchdown that should have been picked. He did not catch said touchdown because it should have been picked.
Because that was just a terrible decision by Case Keenum.
Let's talk about the game from Case Keenum, Nathan, on Sunday. You know, we saw the really bad Keenum, the week 2 against Pittsburgh, and then we saw Case Keenum look like the best quarterback in the National Football League against a beat-up Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, nonetheless, but still, we kicked their butts week 3 in U.S. Bank Stadium. Week 4, Keenum has a couple good drives, but besides that, he looked bad again.
I don't even know what to say about Case Keenum. He is just so up and down. It's awful. It's honestly depressing to watch him week in and week out just come up with a completely different performance, and you're like, where did that come from? He just pulled another thing out of his pocket. He's like, well, I guess he can be kind of good and then awful, and wow, he can be really good this week, and then the next week, he just is terrible. I mean, he missed at least 2 or 3.
Adam Thielen was wide open to the corner of the end zone.
He was wide open. How do you miss a wide open receiver? As a quarterback, that's literally all you're looking for, is wide open receivers. And he's too busy trying to throw it to Jerick McKinnon, who, by the way, cannot catch a ball that's thrown to him.
Oh, my goodness.
To save his life.
Jerick McKinnon. That was an awful game by McKinnon. It was a bad game as well by Eric Kendricks. McKinnon couldn't catch a ball to save his life. Kendricks couldn't make a tackle in open space.
If only Jerick McKinnon was getting tackled by Eric Kendricks that day, we would have been so set. But unfortunately, he was getting tackled by the overperforming Detroit Lion defense.
And now McKinnon might have to be our starting running back or Latavius Murray as,
give me a break.
The saddest moment of the Vikings year so far. Dalvin Cook, that gruesome ACL tear that occurred on that second drive of the third quarter.
And you know what? My favorite part about that was when he tore his ACL, kept running, then went down. Then the Detroit Lions saw that he fumbled the ball and all jumped on top of him while he was laying on the field.
That's the part no one's
with a
talking
torn
about.
ACL.
The Lions guy could probably tell he was hurt, but the Lions guy was such a freaking, I'm sorry, folks, asshole. I mean, come on. The guy is clearly, he could see the knee turn. He could see the knee was
grabbed his knee, went down to the ground, and the Lions dogpile on him.
The Lions dogpile on him, and they're a dick enough. Oh my God. I mean, seriously. The Lions guy who hit him was like the kid who's a bully and picks on the mentally, autistic kids at school. It was that bad.
This is like little Jimmy came to the recess with a boot on, and everyone's like, ha! Look at little Jimmy. He broke his foot. Let's all go lay on top of him. That'll be funny. Ha, ha, ha. He can't run away. Oh, this will be great.
I hope Detroit somehow gets fined about $100,000 for those hits. But we all know Detroit does not have $100,000.
Here's the real question, Dirk. Would we take Amir Abdullah for this year and give them Dalvin Cook?
You know, they wouldn't accept that trade. But I will say, I
don't know, though.
I think Abdullah, it's interesting over the coming weeks, Nathan, that you speak about that. Because now, most likely, I don't know if it will be McKinnon or Murray starting. I think Murray should.
Yes.
You paid him the money.
I mean, look at Jarek McKinnon last season. He was awful.
He ran for 1,000 yards a couple times in Oakland, even once when Derek Carr was there. You got to, I think, try Murray out. See if that contract was really, really worth it or not. Because if Murray struggles, you might as well release him in the offseason. He's going to take up a chunk of your cap space, and you got to see if he's worth it to keep. Same as Teddy Bridgewater when he comes back.
Well, Teddy Bridgewater, let's be honest, he's going to be great when he comes back. We know this. This is a fact. We know he's going to be great. We know that. Okay. Actually, we probably don't. We haven't seen him play in years. He's probably over. But speaking of first-round draft picks, Teddy Bridgewater went down. Sharif Floyd, also a first-round draft pick. Where are our first-round draft picks?
Non-contact knee injury!
Whoa, God! We're cursed. We're cursed.
Honestly, Cook on that play, no offense to Dalvin. I'm sorry, loss. I hope he comes back next year. We should just teach our running backs and our receivers to run right into their defenders, because we don't get hurt when we run right into them. We get hurt when we try to run around them.
Like, if you're in open space and you're a Viking player, and you're just open space, you're home free, as Paul Allen would like to say, you are, quote-unquote, loose. You should just fall down before something bad happens, because running loose is probably the most dangerous thing you can do as a Vikings player.
I think I've seen the best suggestion I've seen on social media is from a good buddy of mine from high school, Jack Morrison, who said after the Bradford injury, quote, the Vikings should just stop practice, because that's where all these non-contact injuries are occurring.
I don't know if we should fire our training staff or what's the deal. But for some reason, our team has suffered from more ACL tears than any other team in the entire league. I mean, seriously.
It's ridiculous. But you know who was also ridiculous? The dang refs!
The refs. How so, Dirk?
They even said it on the broadcast. They were talking about how they missed 3 holding calls, especially on the Detroit Lions starting linebacker. I think it was Killebrew. Killebrew, their starting linebacker, at a hold later in the game, didn't call it. They missed multiple holding calls. There was one play where Diggs just falls down and the Lions cornerback clearly had something to do with it. No foul thrown. It was an awful game, I thought, by the referees.
And wasn't it the drive where Jarek McKinnon fumbled the ball we had already had like 3 or 4 holding?
No, I think that was a later drive. That was a later drive. I don't think we had a penalty on the McKinnon fumble.
Well, no, there was like penalties before that happened on that drive that
really?
Should have been called but weren't. I believe.
True. I don't quite remember that.
Well, color me unobservant if I'm wrong. But I don't know. Yeah, it's always a tough thing with the refs. You never know what you're going to get. It's hard to rely on those penalties, but sometimes when the teams play it like that, there's just nothing you can do if the refs aren't calling it.
Although the Vikings line played well. We only had about 1 holding call, I think.
Yeah, not like that week where, who was it?
Steelers?
Yeah.
That was
just
gosh,
holding
awful.
Penalty after holding penalty.
Holding penalty. But they allowed also for time for, wasn't the best pass protection, but Keenum did have time to step up into the pocket, and when he stepped up into the pocket, that's when he was at his best.
And that's saying something, because he was not at his best much, but when he did. I mean, the missed opportunities
really good
in
throws
that game.
to Diggs and Thielen.
Hey, let's talk about that Dalvin Cook touchdown. I mean, obviously, he won't have it anymore this season because he's torn his ACL and is out for the season, but his touchdown, wide open by the offensive line.
Wide open. Great blocking by that offensive line on the left side there. Massive hole. I could have driven my 1998 Pontiac Bonneville through that if I wanted to.
That is a big car, Dirk. That is a huge car.
It was a big hole. Great blocking by both Riley Reif and Nick Easton on that play. Cook just had to walk in for his second and what will be last touchdown of the 2017 season, sadly. And sadly, we only got to see one Dalvin Cook touchdown dance in which he was cooking up stuff. Perfect.
Yeah, honestly, I can't even wait to see more of those. Like, let's just end this season now and go next year so we can see more of those dances. Anyways, let's talk about one other thing with the offensive line. So
let's talk about the play calling.
No. Let's think about this.
Let's talk about the play calling.
Do you remember that play when Case Keenum got sacked, right?
Yes.
It was like one of the last plays of the game. Case Keenum gets sacked. And it looks like Mike Remmers just totally blocked the wrong guy because, like, Nick Easton's standing over here just like a complete
It was a freaking terrible blocking scheme.
No. This wasn't even their fault. What's-his-face? Case Keenum tells him to shift over before the play even started. So they did what he said. And then that guy comes to the right side, just unblocked, right to the quarterback. It was ridiculous. And yet another show of Case Keenum's just horrible.
It was awful blocking assignments called by Case Keenum, but an awful ball management by Keenum. You see that free rusher, you just have to throw that ball out of bounds, sail it out, go to 4th and goal from your 4, which gets me to the play calling. Why were we going for it on 4th and goal from the 15 when we were down 7 and we can get the ball back with Kai Forbath kicking a field goal?
No, because you had to rely on Kai Forbath kicking a field goal.
We'll get into that later.
He had already missed one today.
We will get into that later. But you see those defensive backs all standing on the end zone line. You're not making it into the end zone. That was freaking horrible play calling by Pat Shurmur on that one. Just like all 4th down was freaking horrible play calling in the red zone, inside the 5. 2nd down, we ran it with Murray. We should have done a play action rollout, hit Kyle Rudolph, who had 2 big catches that drive, wide open for a touchdown. And yes, this is my peak Vikings rant.
Oh, Dirk, wow, you are angry. To be fair, the reason I think that Case Keenum didn't throw that ball away on 3rd down was because he knew he probably would have thrown an interception knowing himself.
Throw it out of bounds. Case has the skills to throw it.
The other thing that the defense really missed was interceptions. I mean, seriously, they dropped, 4 interceptions?
4 interceptions dropped.
Honestly,
we had a fumble we could have gotten.
Mike Zimmer just skips all planning for the next week, and they just spend the whole week catching the ball, the defense.
Barr, missed pick, Mackenzie Alexander.
Pick 6?
If Mackenzie Alexander picks that one clearly, Matthew Stafford got taken down on that play.
I mean, Matthew Stafford
that would have been gone for a touchdown if Mackenzie picks that one off.
Matthew Stafford just got wrecked all game,
Our defense was very good. We will say our defense was good.
6 sacks?
Yes.
6 sacks.
Daniil Hunter got 2. Everson Griffin got 1. Big Linval sat on him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he just got wrecked, and he played horrible. Seriously. He had maybe 1 or 2 good drives. We're talking about Case Keenum. That was
easily Stafford's worst game of the year.
Oh, it might be just by the end of the year, it might be the end of the year. Well, he plays the Vikings again. That'll probably be an even worse game for him, I think.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we're just going to wreck him. It's about time the Vikings beat the Detroit Lions. I am so sick of them winning. They are not that good.
I am used to the days of even when the Vikings were bad, you knew you could beat Detroit at least once a year. What the frick is this? Why are they good all of a sudden? I mean, they've been good before. They don't have Megatron. They don't have Ndamukong Suh. I just don't get it.
Well, to be fair to the Detroit Lions,
they have a ball-hawking corner in Darius Slay. I'll give them that. They have a solid defensive end in Ezekiel Ansah, a great offensive line, and a good quarterback in Matthew Stafford. But when your best receiver is Golden Tate, a just slightly above average receiver, and your running backs haven't run for over 100 yards in how many straight games now? 20-some?
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
How are you winning football games?
Well, let's think about they went, was it 9-7 last year? And 8 of them were 4th quarter comebacks. That means they easily could have been 1-15. 1-15 last year.
They lost to the Bears at on the road. I mean, we lost to the Bears on the road too, but we weren't a playoff team.
Well, we should have been.
We really should have been. But let's not talk about last year.
The reason that we weren't really was because of our quarterback situation. It's not great right now.
No.
And Sam Bradford is injured once again.
But we have some good news today on the Sam Bradford injury front.
He was practicing, and for a little preview of how that was going for him, here is Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer.
Who your starting quarterback will be Monday night?
No.
For practice today?
I anticipate he will, yes.
With him, do you think that's going to be just a pain management issue throughout the season, or how do you kind of see things unfolding?
I mean, that's pretty much what it is, but I'm hoping it's not throughout the season.
Can it ever get to be a distraction factor when week goes by each week and you don't know who the starting quarterback is going to be?
No. I mean, if he's ready to play, he'll play.
Better equipped to handle key injuries because you got so many veteran players?
I don't know. I mean, you just go out and try to figure out the best way you can each and every week. I like this team, the way they worked, and, the way they play, the toughness that they play with. We just got to win, we just got to win games.
And that was the always short-worded Mike Zimmer, but we appreciate his words because they are usually quite wise and very informative. So there you have it. Sam Bradford is a question mark as always. They are saying essentially the same things they said about him as before the Steelers game, where obviously he went out on the field and tried out his knee and he didn't go. So unfortunate, but that is the case that we are in right now with Sammy Boy.
It's definitely some good news, though. He's back at practice, and this game is on the Monday, so he is going to get that extra day.
Yes, so that's true, and hopefully he can go to church on Sunday and
pray without hurting anything.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't kneel. That would not be smart in his case, especially given his knee. All right, so looking ahead. We forgot the big signing this week.
Big in quotation marks.
Our new starting running back.
Not our new starting running back.
Mr. Stephen Ridley. He's been in the NFL for what, 8 years?
Yeah, he's been around. He started a few games for the Patriots before, been more of a pass catcher instead of a runner. I don't know what he's going to do in this offense. Be the third string back?
He's 28, Adrian Peterson 32, and he's going to go till he's 36. So, that shows that, he probably has a good 8 years left.
Ridley's probably a third string back for the rest of the year. He'll get in for a few plays.
Yeah, if he makes a starting lineup.
I don't think he
was the best option. They worked out 4 of them, and they chose Ridley, so I guess there has to be something there, right?
Right. Zim's got to see something.
He's a genius.
He's got both of his eyes healthy this year, so.
Yeah, I think he still can't really see out of one of them.
Oh, boy.
But I guess it's not red and painful.
Well, that's true. He doesn't have to go into surgery.
Do you have any stats about Ridley first, Dirk?
Let me look that up here in a second, Nathan. But while I'm doing that, let's talk about my hometown baseball team, the Minnesota Twins. As inconsistent as Case Keenum was on Sunday, so was Irvin Santana's pitching for pretty much the entire 2 innings he was out there. It's Heartbreak City again. You jump out to a 3-0 lead at Yankee Stadium. You're looking to finally beat the dreaded evil Empire. And then you come back in the bottom of the first, and your pitcher's just as crap.
Seriously, talking about screwing the pooch, how do you let them score 3 runs after you scored 3 runs? That's such a good start. How do you blow it that quickly? You might as well not have had such a good start.
ESPN might have had something to do with it. Did you see that broadcast team? They spent the entire game talking about the Yankees. They had no knowledge about the Twins. They were literally riding the Yankees bandwagon.
I think at the end of the game, and they said that's going to be the end of the season for the Montana Twins. And they said, they're from Minnesota, right? And he's like, the Minnesota Twins.
Literally, every stat they had about everyone was literally in-game stats. They had nothing about the Minnesota Twins out of game besides, Byron Buxton's made a catch like that the rest of this year.
What I find is impressive is that Joe Mauer is still going. Because I remember going to see him when I was in middle school, maybe. And the Metrodome was still a thing.
Oh, boy. That was one of the worst baseball stadiums I've ever I've ever been to. It
Honestly, not really a great stadium in general.
Our family used to go to sit in right field, the upper right field bleachers, because that was the cheapest part of the park. You literally couldn't see over from like right field over until like left center.
Yeah, it's really kind of a good thing that they have Target Field now. It's not the biggest field in the league, but that being said, the Minnesota Twins are not the biggest fan base in the league.
No,
so.
we are not. But you know what? I fault my Twins for that game, but I can't fault them for this season. We're going from the worst record in baseball to 85-win playoff team.
Yeah, I don't think anyone saw that one coming.
Nobody saw that one coming.
I didn't even see that one coming.
You didn't see the Stephen Ridley stats coming that I just found.
Yeah, I know. I thought it would take all day.
To NFL.com, he only had 3 attempts for 7 yards last year for Atlanta.
Oh, wow, that's really good.
And 36 for 90 the year before for the Jets.
Hey, that's all Latavius Murray has had this year either.
Ridley has not done much this year. Career-wise, 22 touchdowns rushing the ball in a total of 2,914 yards. Most of those coming with New England.
I think we should trade away another first-round draft pick and go get Le'Veon Bell.
I don't think the Steelers are going to give us Le'Veon Bell.
For a first-round draft pick, I don't see why not.
They're really not going to give us Le'Veon Bell.
Well, that's sad. But hopefully Stephen really is the answer. So, Dirk, let's talk about Monday night versus the Bears. It's not Halloween this year. That's always a good thing.
That's true. That is Monday night. And a bigger storyline coming into the game. Mitchell Trubisky, the number 2 overall draft pick, to John Lynch somehow screwed over the Bears to get him to get trade down in the draft.
One spot.
To draft Mitchell Trubisky.
Who is unproven.
Very unproven.
Yeah, so that was an interesting choice, but he looks to prove himself against the best defense in the league. So I don't know about you, Dirk, but I feel a lot of picks coming.
This is an interesting decision by John Fox. You have that extra day, but it's a primetime game against a top 5 defense in the National Football League.
No,
against
the top defense.
I would want my rookie quarterback to get comfortable against the defense. Example, New Orleans. I would want him to start off against the defense.
No, I've seen worse. New Orleans is pretty good. They're decent. New England, that's a bad defense.
The New England defense this year, which is
bad.
awful, last in the league in terms of yards given up on defense. I would want my rookie quarterback against a defense, though, that's not going to be great. Doesn't matter if you win the game or not yet. I want you to get comfortable in the NFL setting so when you face those top defenses, you're not nervous. He's going to have the butterflies going. Oh. This is his first NFL start. It's prime time Monday night at Soldier Field against a top-ranked defense.
And the Vikings have not won at Soldier Field, and at least last year. I don't know.
They won in 2015. They won in 2015.
They're looking to win in Soldier Field. I mean, as of right now, in the last few years, when they win in Soldier Field, they go to the playoffs. So they want this win in Soldier Field, and Xavier Rhodes wants his first pick of the season. So I think he might bait Trubisky.
And there's a lot of pressure on Trubisky, because it's going to come down to the running game for the Bears versus the running defense for the Vikings. Bears, great run game with Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen, who've been a great 1-2 power punch this year behind that offensive line, which is one of the more underrated ones in the league. But they're going up against a top-notch defensive line in our Minnesota Vikings.
I mean, seriously.
And 2 great linebackers in Eric Kendricks and Anthony Barr. If the Vikings defense stops that running game early...
And don't forget about Ben Gedeon. He's freaking good.
Ben Gedeon's solid, too.
No, he's awesome.
Okay, difference of opinion on that one. But... if the Vikings defense stops that run game over early, it might be over unless Mitchell Trubisky is the next Matt Ryan or some other top-notch quarterback.
So you think Mitchell Trubisky will have like 8 mediocre years and then become the MVP? Is that what you're saying right now?
Well, Matt Ryan, I'd say, had a couple bad seasons his first 8 years, and then last year was his best year, obviously. But we're not talking about Matt Ryan this week. We're talking about Mitchell Trubisky. But it's his first start. If all the pressure, all the weight of the Bears offense falls on him, I don't think he's going to have enough to do it.
You don't? Yeah, well, I think he's going to do horrible. I think he'd be lucky if he breaks 200 yards. It's going to be a rough game for him.
But let's talk about
that. That depends, though. It depends on the Vikings offense. If the Vikings offense can get going, Mitchell Trubisky's done. Because he's going to have to push himself to the limit. I don't think he'll be comfortable with you.
And especially if Sam Bradford is back, that Vikings offense is going to be more fired up than usual. They might be already, with some people already doubting them going forward with Dalvin Cook out for the year.
And let's not forget who's coming back this week. My man, Michael Floyd. And he is going to be great.
Michael
No
Floyd could
longer
be.
is our third wide receiver
Laquan Treadwell.
Because Laquan Treadwell, you still are like, wow, every time he catches, I mean, it's career best games for him. Every time he catches one pass in a game. That's how bad Laquan Treadwell has been.
He has tripled his production from last season, and he only has 3 catches.
Could you imagine if he caught a touchdown? I mean, I might lose it. I might actually lose it.
He might break down crying, but
He'd be
here's
like,
the thing.
I'm so happy. This is the highlight of my NFL career. And then they would just not sign him back.
But Michael Floyd, hometown boy from Crane-Durham Hall High School, right there in St. Paul. Floyd, great speedy wide receiver. He can stretch your defense, beat you over the top. I'm going to be very excited to see how Michael Floyd fits in with this offense, especially if it is the starting quarterback, Sam Bradford. But I'll be excited even if it's Case Keenum under center again for the Vikings.
That being said, if Sam Bradford is coming back next week and Latavius Murray can finally get going, we will have somebody to watch next week because I think we have probably the best wide receiver core in the entire NFL. And right now the stats would prove it because we have the first in receiving yards,
Stephon Diggs,
and third in receiving yards,
Adam Thielen,
and probably going to be first in touchdowns this year, Michael Floyd. So we'll wait to see that night. We're very excited for that Bears game coming up.
and the Vikings run game too could benefit Danny Trevathan after that nasty, dirty, cheap shot he had on Devontae Adams last week in that Thursday night game
that was
against Green
disgusting.
Bay.
No Vikings player would ever do that.
Danny Trevathan is out for this ball game. That might be there's probably their best linebacker run stopping wise. If we can block Farnell McPhee and keep Leonard Floyd off of our quarterback, we're gonna just run the ball.
Trey Waynes
all
might
over them.
hold and do pass interference, but at least he does not give dirty hits.
This isn't a great wide receiving core though for the Bears. Top receiver, Kenny Stills.
And you have trouble
What,
thinking of the
Justin
name
Britt?
because, I mean, who are these people? They're
I
more
do
no-names
not know
than
a
Adam.
Bears wide receivers with the exception of
They're more
Alshon
no-name than-
Jeffrey. Oh wait, Alshon Jeffrey's on Philadelphia right now.
They're more no-name than Adam Thielen was a few years ago. All right, let's talk about something else that's happening that's very exciting on Monday night that I know I am especially thrilled to see. Another Star Wars trailer coming out. This is only the second one that we get to see for this new movie coming out, which I'm so excited for. I watch new fan theory videos literally every day. I cannot tell you how excited I am to break down this new Star Wars trailer clip that's going to come out.
Yes, there are rumors, and I think they've been confirmed now that there will be a Star Wars Last Jedi full trailer Monday night sometime during the Vikings-Bears game.
So while we're enjoying the horrible ESPN coverage, we can look forward to the commercials to see if this commercial break will finally be the one where we get to see Star Wars.
And Nathan, obviously they're not going to reveal any major spoilers, any major plot lines from the movie, but what would you be looking forward to in this Star Wars trailer?
I'm looking for just the small little essence of the movie that we can pick apart and finally figure out what this movie might actually be about. Because as of right now, we really have no idea. Like
we know Luke Skywalker said the Jedi must end, but why does Luke Skywalker want the Jedi to end? I know this won't be revealed in the trailer.
We don't know.
But has Luke gone evil? Has Luke changed his mind? I mean,
don't
what
think
is happening
has
with
gone
Luke?
Evil. We are not thinking that he's turned evil. I think
He has not turned into the
maybe
Green
has
Bay Packers.
No, but maybe he has turned into a Mace Windu-esque character with the purple lightsaber. We don't know. I don't know
how
but
I feel about the purple
excited.
lightsaber.
We're very excited to see that. And another thing we know will be happening. So basically, what's happening in this movie, we know that Rey is getting trained in what we don't really know, and we know that Kylo Ren's getting trained in what we don't really know. But it's clear that after this movie, the idea of Sith and Jedi is really going to be a thing of the past in Star Wars. There is going to be some new thing in both the good and the evil. But we don't know what that's going to be. And we can speculate, and we can read the Star Wars novels to figure it out, but we won't really know until we watch the movie.
I would also really like to see some more images of the new characters. The one played by Kelly Marie Tran, Benicio del Toro, Laura Dern.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a bunch of the new characters, plus Leia. They might show something of how they've handled Han Solo's death. So
really exciting. All right. That's all for this week of Vikings Rant.
Actually, let's rant about one more thing. To leave off, our special teams. Let's hope for a much better special teams performance. We have not returned a touchdown this year on a kickoff or a punt. Marcus Shales, Jerick McKinnon, get on that. Also, Jerick, take a knee when the ball is going to the back of the end zone, please. And Kai Forbath, You made all your extra points last week, but you missed a field goal. Stop missing, Kai and Ryan Quigley. Get that ball to bounce the right way when you're trying to pin it inside the 20.
Yes, right now it's looking like we had both a kicker and a punter battle this offseason. It's looking like we made all the wrong decisions. It's time for them to finally prove us wrong for thinking that.
But we also might be able to beat the Bears by so much and sack Mitchell Trubisky a bunch that we don't need those extra points that much at all because we'll win.
Well,
by
we'll
a
have to
blowout.
wait and see. All right, we're
Nathan,
really
what's your final prediction?
for the game.
Yes.
Final prediction for the game. I'm going to go Vikings 35, Bears 21.
I'm going to go more of a defensive slugfest. Vikings 21, Bears 14.
All right, that's it for this week of Vikings Rant. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to check us out on YouTube, and hopefully we'll have tons of other videos up at some point.
I'm Dirk Ummenhauer.
And
We will
this is
see
Nathan
you next
Schulte
week
signing off.
on Vikings Rant.